over time, celebrating your successes is going to keep building your confidence. And that confidence doesn't come from knowing you can do things, it comes from trusting in your abilities to figure things out. So the more you tell yourself you can figure things out and make them a success, the more that's going to build your confidence that you can apply to future lessons, future challenges, and opportunities in other areas as well. So don't underestimate just how powerful it is to celebrate your successes, even the teeny weeny ones. It's also a really fun thing to do. Hello, and welcome back to the Art of Value Whispering podcast. I'm your host, Melitta Campbell, value whisperer and business coach, and you are joining us today for the very last of our Planisodes, a series of mini podcast episodes, each one breaking down the planning process to make it easy for you to get prepared and ready to make 2025 your best year yet. We have covered everything so far, and yesterday I was starting to look at what happens when you get overwhelmed so you don't feel held back, and today I want to dive into your success habits. So what are the small positive things that you can start to build into the way you do things to help you stay on track and start to naturally achieve more, not by doing more, but by having that little upgrade to your habits? This is like those little 1% tweaks that are going to take you to the next level. So today it's Planisode 7, and I'm going to share 7 success habits that you can consider taking on board in 2025. But what you don't want to do is try and do all of them at once. So listen to the episode and pick the one that you think, yeah, that feels like it could really work for me. You feel excited to try it, and then decide what you need to do to start to upgrade that area of your life. Now, the thing with habits is that they take a little while to embed. Sometimes it's a couple of weeks to a month. Sometimes it could be longer than that. It's all very personal, but you can't just stop a bad habit. You can choose to upgrade it. So if you're struggling to find the time for a new habit, look at your existing habits and the ones that perhaps aren't your catalyst for growth and positivity and are maybe holding you back a little bit, and see if you can break those habits down and choose to upgrade them to some of what I'm going to share with you today. That's going to be an easy way to find the time. And if you already have a habit, so maybe you know that first thing in the morning you go on Candy Crush, or what's the one at the minute, Royal Match, one of these apps, you know that you spend the first 15 minutes of a day doing that. Well, maybe that's a habit you could choose to upgrade to spending the first 15 minutes reviewing your success journal, for example, or doing a gratitude practice. That would be something that would very nicely fit in. It's already a habit you have, but you're just choosing to change from one to another. So you can't stop a habit because you're going to leave a gap. You need to choose to replace it with something better. The same with new habits. It's easier to fit those into your life if they are replacing existing habits. So that's an easy way to start fitting some of these into your life in a simpler way, and a way that's going to make it easy for these habits to stick as well. So before we go into the habits, I want to remind you that there is a planning toolkit / worksheet, whatever you want to call it, that goes along with this Planisode series. It's free for you to download in the Dream Clients Club, which is my free community. So you just need to go to melittacampbell.com/club, join the community there. You'll be able to access the planning worksheet. You'll be able to comment on what's coming out for you from these Planisodes, share your ideas, your dreams, your successes, any challenges, and be part of that conversation as well. Plus, if you go to the classroom, you will find a whole heap of existing masterclasses, tools, training to help you with a wide range of business growth topics as well. And as I said, that's all completely free, ready there for you just to go in and absorb and take what you need right now. Take what's going to help you to go forward. So come and join us there. The first habit is gratitude. Adopting a practice or a habit of gratitude. This has been a game changer for me, because in your entrepreneurial journey, There is going to be a lot of challenge. Things don't always go according to plan. We've talked about that quite a lot over the course of the Planisodes. So how do you stay focused on the positive? How do you prevent yourself from being sucked into the doom and gloom and nothing's going to work, I should just quit kind of mentality that we can all experience on a regular basis, and stay more on the case of, well, isn't that fascinating? What can I do next? So the practice of gratitude is going to help you focus on the good that happens every single day. So you're balancing things out. And over time, once you do this, you'll see that actually there's a lot more positive happens in your day and in your life than the negative. At first, it can be hard to do this if you haven't done this before. And I've seen it with my clients, like, but nothing good did happen today. But as soon as you start to practice and start seeing where all these good things are happening for us, the easier it is to see those. And now in my day, I rarely see any negatives, whereas before I would have only seen negatives because I see so much positive in its place. So, when we're looking at gratitude, it needn't be just showing gratitude for the big things that happen. Oh, I won a new client today, or I got invited on a podcast, or I get to speak at this big conference. So, it needn't be these big things. Obviously, if it is the big things, that's wonderful, but it can also be the really small things. So, for example, I feel extremely grateful to be speaking to you from my beautiful office in the basement of my home that my husband spent 18 months building for me. And it looks out of the Alps. It's flooded with natural light. I have all my equipment that I need around me. Everything is really easy and beautiful, and it's just the most incredible space. And I feel so grateful that someone took the time to create this space for me, that we had that opportunity to have a space that we could convert. There are so many things I can be grateful for just sitting here. I can be grateful for finding the shade of lipstick, which, if you're watching on YouTube, which is the perfect shade for my brand. So there are so many small things we can be grateful for. You can even be grateful for things that happened in the past that taught you a lesson. So in my TED talk, I shared a nightmare job interview that I went on in my 20s, which in the moment was the worst moment of my life. But on reflection, it was the best thing that could have happened to me because it changed the way I saw myself, my value, the way I approached life, my career. I won my dream job straight afterwards. I got so many promotions in that job. It was the core of the work that I do today, all from that one nightmare interview that if I hadn't had that, I might not be here. I may be seeing life in a very different way. I might have been perpetually unemployed and living at home with my mum. Who knows what I would be doing now if I hadn't learned that lesson, if I didn't have that nightmare experience. So I am really grateful for that. I didn't feel grateful in the moment. That's for sure. But looking back, I see things differently. And we can be grateful for things that are coming up for us in the future. We can be grateful for the habits we're going to adopt in 2025 and how that's going to support our success, for example. Anything goes here. Really get creative, but try and every single day think of 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for. And if you really want to upgrade, you can not just show gratitude for these things, but appreciation. So that nightmare interview, I am grateful that I had it because it unlocked a powerful life lesson for me. And I appreciate what I've been able to do with that lesson. The people that I've been able to help grow, the people I've inspired, how it's given my life more focus and meaning, even. I really appreciate everything that did. So you can have gratitude and then appreciation for that thing or occasion or lesson can take that even deeper. So that's success habit 1 you can consider. The second habit kind of builds on from that, and it's keeping a success journal. A success journal, as the name suggests, is a book, or it could be a spreadsheet or a Trello board or whatever works for you, but somewhere where you regularly write down all of your successes. And these needn't be the big ones. Again, it needn't be the client you got, the stage you spoke on, the speaking on a TEDx stage. It needn't be these huge, big things. It can be the small things as well. Anything that feels like, yeah, I did that is a success. And if you're doing anything online, you're going to have so many breakthroughs and successes that you want to remind yourself of, because all of these little things, making your first email sequence, that's fiddly. Doing that for the first time is a big success. And then you want to use your success journal. You want to refer back to that on a regular basis to remind yourself of what you're capable of. In those moments where you have a challenging project and you think, oh, I don't know if I can do this, you can refer to your success journal and remind yourself of all the times you've overcome challenges in the past, and that, yeah, you probably could do this. It may not be easy. You may not know where to start right now, but you can do it. You can remind yourself of your success journal before speaking on stage to put yourself in that right framework to think, yeah, I have something really valuable to offer. I can really make good things happen. So you can use your success journal in all sorts of different ways, but don't just put everything down. Review these on a regular basis. That will also help build your confidence and your thinking around what's possible for you. The third thing, it's a little thing, and I've just alluded to it already. In those moments when things don't quite go as planned, or people respond in a way that you hadn't expected, in these moments, instead of beating yourself up, thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, or oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened, or anything negative, I want you to just say, isn't that fascinating? And be a bit curious. Be scientific. Like, why did that happen? That was interesting, because there's always a lesson in things that don't go well. And if we take a moment to find that insight and then think about, well, what's that telling me? How can I use that to do things differently next time, to get better, to discover what's a priority? And oh, I'm trying to do this, it's not working. This is the third time I've tried. Isn't it fascinating that it's still not working? Maybe there's a skills gap. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're not motivated. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. Maybe it will tell you something. So I want you to get in the habit of, instead of having the habit of putting yourself down in these moments, change that to a habit of saying, isn't that fascinating? And seeing where that question takes you. The next lesson is to keep learning and schedule that learning. Make it a habit. Decide, I'm going to, instead of playing Match Masters or while I'm doing the washing up, I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm walking the dog or when I'm doing my makeup in the mornings and getting it organized. These are times where I'm not doing anything taxing, but I have time to listen, because the more we're learning, we're always getting these insights. And sometimes someone will say something that will link back to an experience we've had in the past and trigger a new learning, a new breakthrough. Because our breakthroughs don't come from the big successes we have. They come from our small habits, the small things we do to a good standard consistently, and they come from the small insights that we choose to act upon. And by opening our mind up to more experiences, other people's ideas and new philosophies and theories and ways of doing things, the more chance we're going to have these breakthroughs, these little insights. So this can be reading 10 pages of a book each day. Sometimes what I like to do is not read 10 pages of one book, but I'll read maybe 2 or 3 pages of 2 or 3 books, and seeing where there's always a crossover between them. It's always really interesting what that throws up for me. And you can listen to podcasts like this one, obviously. YouTube videos, you can sign up to something like masterclass.com. There are so many different ways that we can learn today. So find one that you enjoy, that fits into your lifestyle, that feels easy. I listen to a lot of books these days and podcasts, because I just don't have the time to sit down and read the way I used to. And when I do, I often fall asleep. So for me, listening when I'm active really helps. And I've recently discovered that I have ADHD. So doing something else helps me to really focus on the words more. So actually that is a habit that's working very well for me it's called habit stacking, where you do two things at the same time. So maybe you go for a jog each day and you can be listening to a podcast, or you're cleaning or making the dinner in the evenings, whatever you may be doing. If you can stack something else on top of that, then it becomes, again, easier for you to stick to that habit because you're building it into something that's pre-existing, but also you are giving yourself more time because you're doing two things at the same time, as long as you can balance that. The next habit, depending on where you are and your personality, may sound a bit like, no, I do not want that one. But I would consider you to think about it, and that is networking. So, as you may know, if you're familiar with my story, I wrote the book, A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking, because I used to be extremely shy. I used to be extremely quiet, I held back, and it got to a point where I realized I had to network. I'd moved from London to Geneva. I didn't know anyone. And here, everything is done through networking. If you want a job, if you want a better job, if you want a promotion, if you want to meet people, if you want to learn, it's all done through networking. So I had to figure it out. And it took me a very long time and a lot of mistakes. So in the book, I tell you the outcomes of this so you don't have to have all those awkward moments that I lived through. But since building my network, it has helped me to get lots of promotions. It has taught me so much about everything in life, different industries, about myself. I've made new friends. I have been invited to speak. It's what got me started as a speaker. And of course, the opportunity to build my business. Launched three of my businesses pretty fast and for no money whatsoever, simply by going out to my network and saying, hey, this is what I'm doing now. Do you know anyone that I could be helping? And that has brought me enough clients to get all of those started on day one. So your network is so, so powerful. It doesn't need to be going to big, scary conferences if that's not your thing. That's one way to network. And it's a great way because you know people are there for the same reason, though they all have the same interest. It's kind of easier in that case. But it can be meeting people one-to-one on LinkedIn. Living in the Swiss Alps, I do that a lot. I reach out to people and have virtual coffees because I don't always have the opportunity to go to these big events. It's certainly not in my region. So these events take a lot of planning, but inviting someone for a coffee through Zoom, that's really easy. And I've just had the most amazing conversations that way. I met incredibly inspiring people. I've learned a lot. I've got a lot of support for my business and my next steps, encouragement, all sorts of things from those one-to-one interactions. And it needn't even be business focused. You know, you're networking when you make friends at the gym, or when you go to an art class, or you start something new. So think more broadly about your network, but do keep meeting people, staying curious, open to new ideas, and seeing where some of these relationships take you. You don't have to build and maintain relationships with everybody that you meet, only those people that you really resonate with and want to stay in touch with. So there's going to be a lot of people you'll meet who are amazing, and a few you think, I'm not bothered about meeting them again, and that's okay. So try and build networking as a habit so that you're always having these interesting conversations and bringing new people into your life on a regular basis. The next habit is a really, really, really important one. And it's so simple, but a lot of people miss it and they don't necessarily appreciate just how powerful it is. But that is to celebrate your successes. So you've got your success journal. When you put something in your success journal, think of a way that you can celebrate that, where you can mark that that was an achievement for you. And like everything else, these may be small celebrations. If it's just a small win, you may want to do a small thing like, okay, I'm going to have that glass of wine or a nice chocolate bar or treat myself to a nice healthy lunch today in recognition that you had an achievement. Recognizing your progress is going to help you to stay motivated, to keep moving towards your next goal because you've noticed I have progressed. If we don't celebrate our successes, we just move from one challenge to the next one to the next one. And we're never noticing the impact or the growth that these challenges are giving us. So every time you overcome a challenge, any kind of success, celebrate it. This gives you a deeper appreciation of your skills. It enables you to lean into your strengths, to do more good things without burning out. A great way of preventing overwhelm is to build on what you do well and to learn from your successes. What environment and conditions did you need to make that success happen? And therefore, how can you do more of that? How can you build more of this learning into the way you do things? One thing I realized when I was writing my book is I'm way more productive in a coffee shop than I am at home because there's less distractions. And I kind of get this sense that people will know if I'm not working. Obviously, they don't care. But that idea, that sense of people watching what I'm doing spurs me on. So I know if I have a deadline and I need to write something and I'm struggling to focus at home, I can just go to a coffee shop. It was an appreciation or really celebrating that I got something done. Okay, but why did that happen today and not yesterday? Oh, because this is what I did. Great. Well, let me learn from that and build that into the way I get things done for the future as well. And over time, celebrating your successes is going to keep building your confidence. And the confidence doesn't come from knowing you can do things, it comes from trusting in your abilities to figure things out. So the more you tell yourself you can figure things out and make them a success, the more that's going to build your confidence that you can apply to future lessons, future challenges, and opportunities in other areas as well. So don't underestimate just how powerful it is to celebrate your successes, even the teeny weeny ones. It's also a really fun thing to do. And the final habit I want you to really seriously consider is, and we and I talked about this yesterday when I talked about how I've seen the link between our ability to succeed and our self-care, the amount of respect we give ourselves, the boundaries we put in place. So I want you to look at where can you upgrade your habits for 2025 to leave room for better, healthy habits. Habits that are going to build your well-being. So getting more sleep. Maybe you wake up half an hour earlier, but go to bed an hour earlier as well. So you get more sleep. Maybe it's drinking more water, because if you're even just the slightest bit dehydrated, your working memory doesn't work as well. You less able to focus, you have less energy. So simply drinking enough water can have a huge impact on your ability to succeed in other areas as well. So sleep, drinking enough water, and moving enough, looking for ways that you can build in a little bit more movement into your day, a little bit more stretching, a little bit more mobility. So look for the simple ways where you can upgrade an existing habit, put more movement into your life as well. With all of these habits, just pick one to work on at a time. If you try and do everything, it's too much. It's going to be difficult. And if you don't succeed, you'll give up and that'll be the end of that. So pick one habit to start with at a time. And to help make that habit stick, you can print off like 30 boxes and tick one every day that you fulfill your habit. If you're someone that likes to tick boxes, that can be really satisfying and you can see your progress. You can tell other people what you're doing, and so that you can feel accountable. Kids are brilliant for this. If you happen to have some around, tell them what you're doing and tell them every day, check, did I do this? They love to do that kind of thing. So your kids can help you stay accountable. Maybe you have an accountability partner, a friend, a life partner. Tell somebody, and that will help you to stay accountable as well. But find some way that works for you. A reminder on your phone can work really nicely as well. So find the way that works for you, and yeah, have fun with this exercise. None of these habits require any fancy tech, any new skills. It just takes time and the decision, I'm going to do this now. It's amazing how powerful just deciding, okay, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do that instead. That alone can already set a whole new wave of things in motion. So yeah, have fun, pick the one habit you want to start with, build that into the way you do things for the next month, 2 months, however long it takes for that to really embed, and then pick the next one. So by the end of 2025, you could be experiencing a whole new level of happiness and productivity and success. So I really look forward to seeing how that works out for you. Do come and let us know in the Dream Clients Club which one you're going to start with. That's another great way to be accountable. You'll find us at melittacampbell.com/club. As I mentioned before, it's completely free to be part of that community, but it can really support your success over the next year. You'll be able to access all the previous Planisodes as well as your planning worksheet and additional tools. So do make sure you hop over there. The Christmas time is a perfect time to go over and check out everything that's there for you and take full advantage. But meantime, I wish you an amazing end to the year and a brilliant 2025. I look forward to seeing you in January.